cool. Let's get started then. So first up, I just want to say we had the test last week. From what I saw, I think it went pretty well. I know some guys and some girls had some trouble, but it's all part of the process, I guess. I think especially, I just want to mention this, like as we do more and more roots and stuff, and as we learn more, it's okay to make mistakes 100%. And if the roots aren't like the most effective to you, or that it's not like your number one like primary tool for you to uncover definitions and stuff, that's totally fine as well. This class is more to give you like more tools and more options to use, and more abilities and ways to get the definitions. And so, I'm not forcing this down your throat and saying like, oh, you need to be able to do this for every single time. It just for me, I find it as a really cool method, and I found it kind of like a puzzle almost. And I think it's pretty helpful and just interesting in general. So yeah, those are kind of my 2 cents. So just like um two thoughts. Just one, keep on doing the roots and stuff. It's definitely helpful, and I definitely think that you guys should like not give up on it. But then two, don't take yourself down or don't beat yourself up because you messed up one question or another question. Right? It's not that important, or it's not like life shattering. It's still important, but it's not gonna affect your entire day. Yeah. So with that being said, let's get into this reading. Also, I just want to give you guys a plan. So next week, I'm going to look at a little bit of poetry, and that should be interesting on what we can do as a class. And so, yeah, we'll look at a couple poems. We'll just kind of look at form and content, and that should be fun. And then the week 7, we'll probably do another like kind of fantasy book or like a kind of novel. And I might introduce you guys to a novel that I really like. And then week 8, it might be kind of like a mix between reading and like a Kahoot or something. Like it's just a fun game to get everyone just some roots practice without like the formal test. That should be good. Cool. I'm gonna start sharing my screen now. And this may take a couple tries. No, all right, got it. Cool. So today's going to be about elephant seals, or the screening per se, and I'm just going to flip to the next page. I'll give you guys some time to read through it. All right, I'm seeing that some people are done. So we're gonna take maybe a minute and 30 seconds ish just to let everyone get through this. Yeah. Cool. So hopefully everyone has time to really get through this. And then again, I forgot to mention this as you guys before you guys started reading. But I think it's important to mention. You guys are ever reading text like this or nonfiction text, especially, but it can also be applied to like fiction text or whatever book you're reading. Especially if it's for school or especially if it's not just for leisure, there's something you have to do with it. I would really recommend annotating with it. So kind of underlining the important parts and writing down why they're important or a slight note, like for like the first paragraph or something, say like definition of elephant seal or something. Just writing down little notes or ways to kind of gather your thoughts. It's that way, it's first of all, it's easier for your brain to remember and it's easier for you to get back to the information. And second of all, if you need to scan through your book, you can see all the moments that you thought were pretty important. And you can see all the moments that were like, oh, I marked this down, so it must be pretty important. So I should definitely revisit this and see why. And so that can lead you to find answers more easily. But yeah, so without further ado, we're going to use the hands function in, yeah, just hands. So raise your hand and then I'll unmute you. And then you can talk and then I'll mute you again. And then lower your hand and that should be good. So start off just content wise or just definitely just content wise questions. So why are elephant seals called so? Edward.
Elephant seals are called elephant seals, but because the males are super big and they have giant trunk-like noses called proboscis.
Nice. So you guys, I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's in the very first paragraph here. I don't know if you can see my cursor. So that's pretty spot on, yeah. So this question definitely just on the surface. If you read the passage, then you'll know. How are they able to stay warm, especially in the Arctic or Antarctica? Sophie, I see your hand. I need you.
They have like blubber
Uh-huh.
and a thick, and the passage says a thick layer of blubber keeps southern elephant seals warm in their icy habitat. And then something else.
Nice. So on that related note, so you guys definitely got it right. What is blubber itself then? And I know Sophie kind of said it, but I just want to re-emphasize it because I think it's a pretty important fact. Wei, lower your hand. Or not you. Let's see left. Doran. No. Okay. I'm just gonna look at chat because things are not doing the best, but I'm seeing that multiple people are saying that blubber is like a thick layer of fat, and that fat keeps you warm. And so definitely. So the fat of like the blubber, it's kind of like an insulation. So if you guys have like in your houses, between the walls or up in the roof and stuff, there's always going to be like a pink kind of insulation, and so that's to keep warm from getting out and from cold from getting in. So it's basically just like a huge layer of fat that works as a um, insulation. Also, if you guys are having technical difficulties unmuting and stuff, don't worry about it. I get it. Happens to me too. Yeah, nothing really much you can do. Um, okay. So how long are they able to stay underwater? Underwater. Keurig?
It says in the second paragraph that elephant seals are able to stay underwater for 20 minutes or more, and
Yeah.
the longest underwater session was 2 hours.
Yeah. And so that's pretty insane. You guys can definitely like imagine that. Like for me, I can probably hold my breath for a minute if I'm really pushing it. So 20 minutes to 2 hours. That's kind of crazy. And so on this note, I know that these questions are all kind of like, oh, I know these pretty well, or like they're just on the surface question. And so I just want to say, like, from when we first started, I think we did our passage. It's a lot better, guys. Like, I know as a class, I can definitely see the improvement, and you guys are getting just faster answers and being able to find it quicker. Uh, cool. So, what are the two reasons they come onto land? Mia or Maya?
Yeah, it's Mia. I see the second one first. So can I say that one first?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, elephant seals come to land to molt. When they molt, they shed old skin and fur, and new skin and fur grows.
Nice.
Yeah, oh, definitely. Also, I think to give birth to, like, the females go on land to give birth to a single pup they've been carrying around since the previous year.
Yeah. So totally. I want to mention you did it really nicely on the second part. Try to come up with your own kind of phrasing of it. And so I know that's hard for sometimes because it's like, the second one is only 2 sentences pretty much. But if you can do your best to come up with your own phrasing of it, and that just to help you, or it's to really like help your mind get processed like, oh, I'm not just reading this, I actually am able to understand it. And I know that sounds silly, but it actually works. And so, yeah, so definitely. Yeah. All right. So we just touched upon this, but like, how long does a female elephant seal nurse her pup? Edward.
Over 3 weeks.
Over 3 weeks? Yeah. So, yeah, nice. So they nurse their pups for around 3 weeks, and then after that, if the pup is healthy and it can like fend for itself, then it's fine. Then it's fine. The female leaves, and the pup is left to fend on its own. And then this is a kind of a question that you're gonna have to use a little bit of interpretation or find evidence to argue your fact. But why does a female only have one pup at a time? I'm gonna go to Elena. Nope. Okay. Chloe. Nope. Sophie.
Maybe because like it says they've been carrying the pup since the previous year.
Huh?
and like she has to nurse like one pup for 3 weeks, and that's like a lot of time.
Yeah, that could be a possible reason.
And after 3 weeks, she needs to breed with the dominant male. So she only has one pup at a time. So like she, can breed with another male.
Perhaps. I can see your argument there. Let's see. Oh yeah, so if you guys need to talk or anything, you should raise your hand in the participants. So if you click the participants button, and then you click like raise hand, then I'll be able to see you. And so, yeah. And so that's to kind of just keep it more like peaceful, so that everyone's like unmuting themselves all at one time and just, there's yelling and hectic everywhere. So that's definitely one. Sophie, unmute. Or did I just talk? Never mind. Sorry. Elena, do you have an argument?
I don't think I have an argument, but maybe also it's because there's not enough milk or enough food for that many pups.
Perhaps. Again, if you guys are giving your take, like Elena just did, also I want you guys to include kind of like an evidence or like kind of like maybe a line from the passage or something that really supports you. And it's like, because I know this, that's because that's what leads me to believe this, or something like that. Kathleen? Nope. All right. Xiao Ting.
Can you please say the question over again?
Yeah, so this is going to be more of an inferred question, but why do you think that female seals would only have one pup at a time?
Because maybe the mom can only produce one pup in a whole year or two, and then she could give birth to only one because there.
Yeah.
Because.
Don't worry about it. So I think definitely that could be a possibility. I'm just gonna go ahead and or actually, do you want to? I'm gonna unmute you, and you can share your take.
So I think it might be because each newborn weighs about 90 pounds, as said in the last paragraph.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm seeing it here. So yeah, that's definitely a valid take. I'm hearing a lot of good stuff. So for me personally, I don't particularly know this, but I'm gonna say along with you guys or seeing and people seeing in chat, that newborns weigh around 90 pounds. And so in order to have, if you had two newborns or you had two pups, right? Or if you were carrying two pups, you would assume that, by the end of their journey, right, they'd both weigh around 90 pounds. And so that'd be carrying 180 pounds. And, it says that in the passage, right, that they pretty much swim all the time and they only come up to land to really mate and to breed, right? And so carrying that much amount for pretty much a whole year, or like multiple seasons, that'd be very tough and that'd be very insane for the female seals to do. There'd be a lot of weight to carry. And so for me personally, based on this, because the newborns or the pups, or the unborn pups would weigh so much, that is probably my argument. That would be my argument for why the female elephant seals would only have one pup at a time, pretty much, or the way they evolved, I guess. And so while I don't personally know off the top of my head, or I haven't done any outside research, that argument does sound very like claim, or it sounds very solid, like it makes sense, right? Because they give you all these facts, and if you put these facts together, you can kind of get like a logical conclusion. And so, yeah, definitely when we do questions like this, we want you guys to be able to, use the arguments that they say, or use the facts that you read. And so I want you guys to be able to really not only give your take, but also cite your evidence or cite your reasoning behind it, I guess. Cool. So then based on that, or not just kind of like a separate note, this is going to be back to rather easier questions. What's the difference between their movements in land versus water? Simon.
They are clumsy on land and they are graceful swimmers and incredible divers.
Yeah. So the question would be right here in the second, or the answer would be in the second paragraph. Right here, it's the topic sentence. So, or it's the second sentence. So the seals are clumsy on land, but in water they are graceful swimmers and incredible divers. And so we only have around like a little bit of time, so I'm gonna go for kind of one more question. And so I kind of just touched on this, and this is gonna be more of an informative. You might use some of the evidence, but it's not really based off elephant seals themselves. It's more of the passage. And so what are the main topics of each paragraph kind of, and how are they formatted / organized? Like, why would the author choose to do this many paragraphs for each point? Like, how would it be formatted for each paragraph? So when you're giving your answer, you can say like, you can just start with one, or you can just talk about one. So like, for example, I'm just gonna pull one out because I don't want to like share like quote unquote correct answer. But like if I were to say, oh, the author in this car paragraph wrote about cars because he has a very deep interest in Buicks or something, right? So he spends the first paragraph talking about why he likes Buicks. And then after that, he explains what a Buick is. And then after that, he talked about, all the mechanics of a Buick. So kind of like what the phrasing of each paragraph is. Okay. Jingwei.
Paragraph 1 is like an introduction to elephant seals. Paragraph 2 is like what elephant seals do in the water. Paragraph 3 is like what elephant seals mostly do on land. Paragraph 4 is like what elephant seals do when they get mated, and I think that's it.
So yeah, totally. I think you nailed that out pretty well. Nice. I'm just gonna add one more thing. So yeah, definitely you're spot on for the first three, and for the second one, or for the fourth one, nice, you got that one as well. And so the fourth and fifth paragraphs, they're pretty much about what the two reasons they do on land for, or the two reasons that they come on land for. And so the first one's talking about all about giving birth to their pup and nurturing it and then leaving. And then the second one is all about molting and shedding their skin. And so the end of the third paragraph also talks about mating a little bit, but it's majority just the fourth and fifth, and that's probably because they're two important questions. They're two important topics, and so the author or the writer decides to spend more time focusing on that, or because it's so important. If you guys have any other takes or just information you want to add, I'll unmute. Otherwise, we can take like a 5-minute break around now. Just give me a sec though. I want to say, especially for these nonfiction questions or these nonfiction passages, I get that they might be, a little bit more dry, or maybe a little bit less of a fruitful discussion like we had with Alice in Wonderland. I thought that was a pretty good discussion that we had, and not just because of the nature of the paragraphs themselves. There's not much debating in this. The nature of this is more of an factual one, so there's not really like a, oh, actually the author's wrong here, or there's like, I wouldn't agree with what the author's doing. And so because of that, sometimes people might see nonfiction as harder to read, or harder, material to get through. But I really think that, it's worth reading, especially if you're interested in it. So if you guys are like, super interested about dolphins or something, go ahead and read like a small article about that. It's especially there, like, it's really nice if you have stuff that you really like, or if you have stuff that you're super interested in. And so with that, go ahead and take your 5-minute break, guys. Come back in 5 minutes. Cool. If you have any questions, just put them in chat or anything. Cool, if you guys can start making your way back to your screens and getting ready for the next section, which is vocab or stems or roots. So yeah, we'll, I'll give you guys a little bit of time just to get back in front. Maybe like 20 seconds or something. Yeah. Cool. Before we start vocab, I just want to mention this week's vocab is going to be a little slightly unusual in the sense of terms we're doing. It just, it's kind of like a weird, confusing vocab day. That'll be okay. I'll try to explain it to you guys the best that I can, and I'll be looking at chat as well for questions. So without further ado, let's get started. So we're going to start with the stem or root A, which sounds, very peculiar. Like a lot of words use A, and a lot of words also use use a letter A, and you can't expect them all to be, parts of the root. And so that's what I'm saying. This part of the vocab is going to be it's going to be kind of weird to get through, but at the same time, definitely you should do it. Give me a sec. I'm going to put this on Google Classroom. So if you guys are going to need to look over there if it's blurry on my screen or on your screens, then just go for it. Thank you for putting up with me. I need 30 seconds or something. Cool. All right. So A means no. And so if you were to, kind of suggest, right, you would think that apathy, the word here, would also have some negative connotations to it, right? And so past that, you can't really get more. You maybe know something. And so that's where pathy means. I don't know if or path comes in. I don't know if you guys have done this route. I think you guys haven't, but I think it's just worth mentioning. No, you could memorize it, but I'm not going to put it in. Path means emotion / feeling. So you go here, no emotion, no feelings, right? That means like a lack of interest, and you can kind of see the connection there. Other words that use A: anarchy, abysmal, atheist. So anarchy is without government. Abysmal is like terrible. It's like a terrible situation, not good. An atheist is someone who does not believe in religion. And or non are other words that mean no. All right, here's where it's going to get a little bit more confusing. So in also means not. And so this is these kind of mean the same thing, no, and not. But I just wanted to kind of spread them out for you guys. That way it's easier to look at, it's easier for you guys to really see. And I think it was definitely worth it because I think if you just got like a bunch of roots at the bottom of the screen, that'd be a lot hard to get through and that'd be a lot hard to learn. And I understand that, this is going to be a lot of roots for this week, but definitely worth getting to know. These are going to be especially helpful to give you kind of like a quick, decisive, thought all of a sudden of like, oh, is this negative or positive? And if you say negative, right, then that eliminates pretty much half the words, right? All of the half of positive words, right? So if in means not, then indiscreet means not teaching. Yeah, my family's here as well. Sorry about that. That was my sister. So if in means not, then indiscreet must mean not something. Probably not discreet, right? And so discreet means being very secretive, and so not discreet would be obvious, or being very like open. And so other words that use in: incognito, insane, inconspicuous. And then these are other roots that use that mean not. So in, im, en, ig, ill, in, and are, ire. And I get that's a lot. And sorry about that, but at the same time, these are really good roots that you guys should really get to know. Like I really mean that. It's definitely going to help you, and it's definitely going to be worthwhile getting these roots, especially because they're kind of quick ones. You'll see these ones a lot more, and these ones are also going to be more practical, I guess. But at the same time, they come with a level of accuracy and precision that you guys have to have, knowing that just because there's a in or an a in a word, you can't just immediately assume it's not, but you can give like a, a rather educated like prediction that it will be. Just make sure you maintain like a healthy skepticism. That's probably just a good rule for everything. Yeah, so I'm seeing people write in, oh, biodegradable, that shouldn't be there. I'm seeing people write in things that use "im" or in that description or in that phrase, and so definitely, I think that's definitely a great way of learning, a great way of getting these roots down. So if you have a piece of paper and you want to do some studying, just go for it. So this one, I'm not totally sure what happened. Yeah, I don't think I meant to do that. Sorry about that. I'll just ignore this. Give me a sec. Annotate. And let me grab this, grab that, and just cross this all out. Don't really look at this. Sorry about that, guys. So dis means away. So some words maybe like distant, right? Away from, disinterested, disperse. I'm seeing someone else write indespicable. Yeah, that's awesome. For the past one. So definitely. So other words that use the sense of way would be diff, di, ab, de, and se. And so a would be kind of another term, like you just saw this a right here. You just saw that means no. And so, while that is true and while that is like a kind of a shared meaning, it also is kind of like a little bit weird, I guess, in a sense that like you have to be more precise and you have to be more hesitant sometimes. But the good thing is that they both mean away from or like kind of not in this direction. You can kind of put a thing between there. I was hesitant of giving this to you guys, but I think it's definitely important for you guys to see. And so when you're doing roots or you're doing anything like kind of decoding like this, I definitely want to mention and just make sure you guys don't immediately jump to conclusions. And it's hard, but it's going to be helpful in the long run. Yeah, cool. Next, we're going to go to ego. So ego is self. Ego means self. The egotistical would be self-centered, right? So someone who is egotistical is very obsessed with themselves, very, very like in their own head, almost like thinking they have more importance than they actually do. So other words with ego would be ego itself. This actually is both the root and it actually is a meaning. So your ego would be how you think of yourself. Like, oh, he has a really high ego. He always thinks he's the best person at sports or something. Or she has a really high ego. She, always thinks she's better than I am. She thinks she's smarter than I am. Right? So that would be an example of using ego. Egocentric would be someone who really uses, or egocentric is someone who's also kind of like obsessed with themselves, or themselves, in their, importance and their worth, stuff like that. Another word that means self, that would be auto. And so I know I told you guys before, like an autobiography, that's a biography of yourself or a life of yourself. I'm seeing someone say automobile. I'm not totally sure if that one is right. It definitely could, if you can see something, but I'm just gonna go ahead and say that's not the right use of the word, especially because of an automobile just means like, a car or something, or just a car or a vehicle. But yeah. Okay, so definitely, that's the vocab I prepared for you today. And the reason why, there's not as much or it's not as The reason why it's not as much as I normally give you guys is because these are going to be more complex and these are going to be more to do with understanding. And I have kind of like just a simple activity that I think you guys could definitely do right now. And so I'll go run through these one more time and we'll get through that. And then we can get like an activity going. So also I'm seeing in chat, automobile is self because you drive it yourself. That could be very true. Personally, I still don't think that could be, you could perhaps say that, but at the same time, I feel like that might be too much of a stretch, at least for me. If you can really see that and you can really put it together, I'm not gonna totally say no, but I'm not gonna say like healthy skepticism is definitely okay. I see someone else said automation. So an automation is not doing things by yourself. It's having like a robot or something being doing stuff for you. I'd say that could work. You could probably use that. All right. Cool. So A means no, and means no, non means no. And so if you see like these other words in context, right, definitely would mean definitely would show like no, they mean no, but at the same time, you can't just jump to conclusions. Like I'm seeing some people say animal or and or pretty much anything you can think of, like right, anything you can think of with A. That doesn't necessarily mean it's no, and that's why I was hesitant to give you guys this. But as long as you guys have a sort of idea that it might mean no, that's good enough for me. And so I don't want you guys to go straight in and start saying, oh, every single thing that starts with an A is no. But at the same time, I do want to say like it's gonna help you, or if you see it, definitely take note of it. Definitely go run it through your brain. It means like, oh, it might mean no. And if you see, if you're taking a multiple choice question like on my test or something, if you're taking a multiple choice question and all of a sudden it shows A, or it shows like other answers that mean kind of like a negative connotation while everything else is positive, then I'd say, oh, that might be something, and I might give that a question a circle, or I might have more leaning, or I might lean more to that question or to that answer. Someone says, Cynthia says, does anti work? Anti would work more for a way, and I'll get to that in a sec. So again, A is no, and is no, non is no. So in is not, and all of these also mean not. And these kind of go hand in hand together. So all of these work. Yeah. So just give you guys time to kind of write it down on whatever you're studying with. I would highly recommend using flashcards or coming up with other words that use it. That really makes sense. Yeah. All right. Next one. Again, don't look at biodegradable and mess up there. It's my bad. Sorry. So going back to anti, right? Anti itself means against or not going with. And so I think definitely you can put it with no. But for me personally, I would put it away here with away here. And so you can see, draw right here, right? There's an A. And so I would use it anti with maybe this A more because it means away from, like against, not away from. But yeah, I can definitely see it both. Yeah, whatever you guys have it more with, I'll take that answer. It works both ways. Seeing asymmetrical, that would work. Not symmetrical, going back to the first slide. Okay, so dis means away. As you're sure you guys, the obvious thing would be distance, right? Diff, di, a, ab, or abe, de, and se. Just write those down. Try to come up with, maybe a couple words that use these. You can use the internet from your own brain. I think a really good source is Membean. If you guys have used Membean, that would work really well. Cool. And then I just want to say all of a sudden as well, sometimes it might not, or sometimes for these words that you come up with, a lot of it is you can't have someone check it. It's kind of like, if you run it through your head and it makes sense in the meaning of the actual word, you can put it together with the root meaning. Then I'm going to say go ahead and go for it. Kind of like how you self-corrected your test on last week. If it makes sense, right, and you can see a clear connection, or you can make a clear connection, and you could probably persuade someone or make someone believe it, then that's, you know, what you should do. Cool. And for the final slide, ego itself as well as auto. And so with that, I think that's going to be your vocab. It's on Google Classroom as well, so if you guys need to write it down as well. So I'm going to stop sharing here. And then so for the activity that I want you guys to do in the remaining 10 minutes, you can do this online. I'd really like it if you guys, or it'd be awesome if you guys could put your answers into chat, and I'll just kind of read them out or kind of look through them. But I want you guys to kind of take this week's vocab, right, and come up with some words with it. And I'm seeing people do that in chat already. And so I want you guys to take as many words or words as you can, especially the ones that I didn't give examples for, the ones at the bottom of the screen. And these are all going to be on, these are all already on Google Classroom. So if you need to find the slides, they're right there. I want you guys to go on, take 5 minutes or so, and just go through and come up with as many words as you can using them. And so, yeah, I'll give you guys time to do that. You guys can do that now. And also, I want you guys to feel free to use Membean, or feel free to use, you know, some other online resources, but also make sure you come up with at least one by yourself. So I'm going to be looking at chat, and I want to see you guys, I want to see all of your kind of like work together. I want to see you guys come with all these words. So I'm seeing sentiment. For me personally, I would say no. And not just because sentiment itself is just feeling, or it means feeling, pretty much. And so I don't particularly see the connection. Answer when class is over. The class is over at the end of this activity, so it should end around 11 or 12 o'clock for me in my time. If you're on the East Coast, I think that'd be 3 o'clock. 2-hour difference, I think. But yeah, so it should end in around 7 minutes. So right now, get onto the slides and come up with as many words as you can, using whatever sources you can find, but try to come up with at least one word. That's all on your own. The anger. I assume those are for no, or like for the meaning of a means no or and means no. I can buy into that. Definitely, if you gave an argument as well with it, I can probably buy into that. Nonfiction. Yeah, that's a good one. Not fiction, or real. Yeah, not happy, anger. Yeah, I can see that one. I'm seeing asymmetrical, not symmetrical. Nice. Disembodied, parts away from others. Nice. Abnormal. Yeah, that'd work. Not normal. Antique. Maybe, actually, because it may mean like away from time, I guess. Or it could mean away from something. perhaps I could see that maybe the connection between time and away. Animal, no. So even though it has the root an, animal itself is just a creature, right? And so it doesn't actually fit with the word of an, or the root, the meaning of the root. Non-violent, nice. Inverse, nice. Decline. Give me a sec. Let me find where the root word. In depth, not depth. In depth actually means very, like, it means to go into depth, not, it's, yeah. Egotistic, nonfiction, yep. Contradictory. Yeah, I think so. That uses multiple vocab words. As well for you guys, I might not be able to see all of these, but yeah. I'm seeing some people pull other words from other lessons. Definitely, I think you should do that, but not here right now on your own time. Do it on your own time. To take maybe 1 more minute, and after that 1 minute, we can adjourn. But this is really good from what I'm seeing right now. A lot of people are getting this. Everyone, I'm on West Coast time. I live by San Francisco, so our times might be a little bit different. Sorry about that. Disappear, antonyms. Nice. Different, difference, distance, direct, direction, absent. Yeah, because they're all from away. Yeah. Asymmetrical. Nice. Never. Maybe. I can't personally right now. I'm not seeing any connection. I don't see any roots that use any roots in never. If you can explain it more, then maybe. All right. Really good, guys. You can start to wind it down or write it on your own kind of piece of paper or kind of create a list of all words. But right now, you guys can all go ahead and leave. Thank you for the class. Insane. Nice. Antonym would work because it's not the same word. Like an antonym would mean like the antonym of happy would be smile. I think we also talked about it in another class about another root in antonym that would make it also right. So nice. Some roots would actually be inside other roots, which is kind of crazy to think about, but it's cool. Abolish. Yeah, because you're getting away from slavery, or you're getting away, not, sorry, abolish to get away from. All right, nice. All right, I'm gonna head out of the meeting. Thank you guys, and cool, I'm gonna leave the meeting.